Now, the stage is certainly set for the Africa Cup of Nations quarterfinals. They get underway tonight as Mali take on Senegal in the first encounter. The build-up for that starting at 5:30 p.m. tonight. Cameroon will then face the host nation Morocco at 9 p.m. with the build-up at 8:30 p.m. That's the second quarterfinal clash of the day. Now, the 8 remaining nations have collectively won the continental title 22 times. For more on this, we are virtually joined by Far Post editor Mthokozisi Dube, live from Morocco. Is telling me he's now in a place where the weather is great. I can see you're not even wearing that big puffy jacket you've been wearing the past couple of times we've spoken to you. Mtho, a very good morning to you. Firstly, just heading into this quarterfinal stage of the competition, we look at the quarterfinalists, the number of titles they have amongst themselves really just speaks to the quality of what we are to expect in these quarterfinals.
The big boys came here and they've done the business. I think a bit different from the last AFCON where they, most of them exited early in the early stages. I think this time around they've come in here and they've done the business very well. So you've got 8 teams that are powerhouses on the continent, clashing. There's a West African derby where I am in Tanja, Mali meeting Senegal. So very interesting ties that we have in the quarterfinals of the AFCON 2025-26.
Indeed, and you look at Mali really just being the underdogs in terms of how they've gotten to the quarterfinal stage of this competition. But you also look at how they've done it. They've never won a game in regulation time in this AFCON. They've drawn all of their encounters, including the round of 16 clash, where they eventually knocked out Tunisia in that penalty shootout.
Yes, very solid at the back. They are very stingy with goals. They defend very well. They've conceded 3 goals so far, including in the round of 16 clash against Tunisia. But what I noticed about them, I think they had to play almost 80 minutes with 10 men against Tunisia. And I got into the stadium a bit late because of traffic outside the stadium. But it took me the next 15 minutes to notice that they were playing with 10 men. So that's how good they are. They play as a unit. They play for each other. They fight, And also very interesting, maybe from a South African perspective, that their conditioning coach is actually South African, Rido, previously worked for Mamelodi Sundowns. And then their coach, Tom Saintfiet, former Free State Stars coach. So very interesting, just to look at the work that they've done with this Mali team. But today is going to be a very tough game for them.
Indeed, that is, of course, the Eagles of Mali that will be taking on Senegal in their quarterfinal clash tonight. Let's then speak in terms of those players that you've found to be influential, particularly in front of goal, with finding the back of the net and also coming through with the assists. We've got right at the top there, Brahim Diaz. He's been solid for this Moroccan team. But you also look at an Ademola Lookman, not just finding the goals, but being crucial with those assists. Let's speak to some of these players here. We're going to see Sinayoko, of course, tonight for Mali. What do you make of those just goal contributions being made by some of these players? You see Mohamed Salah also stepping up with the 3 goals, of Victor Osimhen with 3 goals. And as we touch on Osimhen as well as a Lookman, a lot of tension seems to be coming through from Nigeria ahead of their clash against Algeria in the quarters.
Yes, if you want to win tournaments of this nature, you've got to score goals. You've got to have your players, firing. You look at Morocco, very interesting. They've got Brahim Diaz, who's done exceptionally well. They've got El Kabi as well, who's also scored 3 goals. So they've got 2 players that are really, getting the goals for them up front. And I think the same with Nigeria. You've got Lookman on 3 goals. You've got Victor Osimhen on 3 goals as well. But the interesting thing about Lookman is he's also coming in with the assists. He's assisted 5 times, I think, which is very, very, very interesting. And like you point out, the tiff that we saw between him and Victor Osimhen, I think at the end of the game against Mozambique, we obviously were all asking ourselves questions on whether they would have resolved that after the game. I spoke to one of the Super Eagles players the following day, and they said to me, look, forget what happened on the pitch. These two are teammates. After the game, they obviously had a conversation and, just buried the hatchet. So you'll see them, playing against Algeria, and they will look to contribute goals again in that game. But the question is, are they going to play the game? Because there's the issue of bonuses again.
It will be interesting to see whether or not they do play that game. I did see some official statements coming from their government and their ministry saying those will all be settled by today at the latest. But Mthokozisi, it's always such a pleasure catching up with you. Thank you so much for your time and enjoy tonight's quarterfinals.
Thank you.
All right, Mthokozisi Dube, Far Post editor, just joining us there. In terms of the confirmation of what you can expect on the SABC, all these encounters live on SABC2. Mali take on Senegal. The build-up does start at 5:30 p.m. on SABC2. Cameroon and Morocco, 9 p.m. with the build-up at 8:30 p.m. And in terms of tomorrow's action that you can watch on SABC2, Algeria up against Nigeria and Egypt against Cote d'Ivoire. It will be interesting to see that Nigerian side, of course, currently the top goal scorers out at AFCON 2025, followed by Senegal.